Have you ever had the feeling like you just want to burn it all down? Start over, start something new, rebrand, refresh, grow, launch. Maybe you've hit a wall and you have no idea how to move forward. Maybe you don't even know what you need. You might need to streamline. You might need to add something. You might need to apply to jobs. You don't know. You just know that it is something. So many small business owners encounter this urge at least once in their journey. And in this week's episode, we're going to talk about what you might actually need, how you know you're ready, and what to have in place before you bring in some outside hands, an expert, help, or even hiring somebody. Ready, set, wait. Here's some stuff you should know and consider before you bring in help. Welcome to Content with Character, the weekly podcast that'll give you the momentum you need to create content with more ease, clarity, and laughter. I'm your host, content copywriter Emily Aborn, and I'm all about unconventional marketing approaches. I believe in your big ideas, and I'm excited to help you share them in a way that's distinctly you. Hello and welcome back, and welcome to the month of June if you're listening to this in live time. A little birdie tells me that something might be changing about the intro music soon, maybe even the whole podcast, who knows. I can't tell you more than that just yet, but you will be the first to know, and you also heard it here first, so stay tuned. Today, we're going to get into something I've been hearing a lot of business owners tell me that they're experiencing lately. It's like an ick and overwhelm, and it may look like a number of different things, actually tangibly, other than just those odd sounds. Here are some of the things I've heard people share with me recently. I'm just not attracting the right kind of clients. I keep getting wrong fit projects, people who are sucking my soul. People will share that they know that there's more potential for them, but they don't know how to harness it. They want to launch this thing or create something new, but their branding and messaging, the whole vibe feels off. They're bored and they want more enjoyment in their business. They're tired, overwhelmed, doing way too much, drowning, burned out, exhausted. Nothing is landing or working. I have no idea where to start. My business is a representation of the business I started 10 years ago, but not where I am today, and most certainly not where I'm going. Everything is entirely overcomplicated. There's just too much. Or, my personal favorite, it's just not feeling like me. Now, to be perfectly candid with you, I was actually in one of these spots, let's say about 2 weeks ago, and I started to ask myself all of the questions that I watch other people ask themselves. Do I burn it down? Do I start something new? Do I take it in a different direction? Do I rebrand, refresh, hire someone to help? What's wrong? There are a lot of things and ideas that can go swirling through our mind when we are feeling this way, when we're feeling the ick, the ugh, the ah. And before taking action to bring in an expert or get help, which, mind you, I recommend and I've done time and time again, I think it's important to pause. And that is exactly what I did when I hit that kind of moment. I paused. I waited for clarity to kind of quietly reveal itself. I journaled a lot. I didn't talk about it to all my friends. I didn't poll my entire audience to see what everybody else was thinking. I just went quiet and waited to figure out what I was feeling and what the message was that was coming through with all of this kind of like mental chatter, all this mental noise. So in today's episode, I'm going to share with you some signs that you may not just be a moment, you may actually need help, and what that help might translate to in real life. Because so often I think that we reach for the wrong kind of help for what's actually going on. And then not only do we not end up fixing the problem, we sometimes actually create a new problem entirely, or we focus all of our energy on fixing something that wasn't broken while the actual problem sits there just waiting for our attention. That's fun. That is truly fun. After that, we're going to get into why the clarity matters for yourself before you choose how you're going to move forward, and how that ends up being like taking that pause ends up saving you so much time, so much money, so much energy in the long run. And I also want to give you some ideas on what to do if you really are unable to find that clarity for yourself. So we're going to talk about what to have in place before you greenlight it, go, get started with help, and some signs that you might not actually be ready for that yet. That is where we're headed. It's a lot, I know, but it's going to be fun. So buckle your seatbelt and get all your emotional support water bottles ready, because I think we're going to have a lot to cover today. If I have not met you yet, well, first of all, I'm so sorry that is the case, because I imagine you're truly delightful, and I like to think that I am also. I will introduce myself first, and then you can reach out to me and introduce yourself. I'm Emily Aborn. I'm a small business copywriter and content marketing consultant, and obviously podcaster, as you can hear by the sound of my voice. I've been at this entrepreneurship thing now for 11 years, and I've written for 115 different industries, and I have the calluses on my hand to show for it. On this podcast, Content with Character, we get cozy. We show you how to do it your way. No more shoulding. I like to think it's pretty fun around here. And obviously, if you're a regular listener, you know, we have fun, okay? But if you're new here, I will let you go ahead and be the judge of that. You can always find all the links to me and connecting with me, as well as everything I mention. I often put a lot of resources or extended show notes, which I will do with this one, in the actual show notes themselves. So I'll put like longer show notes. Don't ever hesitate to reach out, say hi, let me know what you're thinking. In fact, your fan mail, which I recently got some through the send me a text message feature in the show notes, it absolutely made my day. And it also helps guide me in what I can be creating that is going to be truly helpful for you. And what is most impactful, then I will just turn into other resources and things. So without further ado, let us get into the topic du jour. We're going to start with those common issues or problems that you might be facing or you may face to indicate that you do actually need an extra set of hands, an extra set of eyeballs on the problem. So these are just a couple. There's so many, but these are just a couple of things that I hear most often from small business owners that I work with and encounter. I've got 6. So first one is I'm constantly tweaking my message or my website. Now, this could mean that you don't have clarity on your brand positioning or your actual message. It could also mean that you're slow right now in your business, right? Like that's a sign that you also might just be slow and you're kind of like, I need to figure out how to get more clients. It may also be that you're too busy and you're like consistently, despite being very busy, you're attracting wrong fit people. So right here, you can see how this one problem could mean a number of different things. Either way, you are always finding yourself kind of revising, adjusting just a little smidge. But what you may actually need, well, you may need a couple things. You may need to entirely wipe the slate clean, rewrite that website copy and your message altogether, rebrand, or you may just need to get clarity and get some extra insights on how you're positioning yourself. When people share this problem with me, this woe, it is often the perfect place for let's sit down and have a strategy session or put together a brand messaging guide that really gives you a foundation. It gives you guidance and the clarity to move forward and make everything cohesive. The other thing, you may also just need to stop. You may need to stop overthinking, stop tweaking, stop revising, let it breathe, see what happens. Like there is also that too. And my hand is raised because I have done this myself. So, the first issue, I'm constantly tweaking my message or my website. Second issue, I have content ideas, but I never get them out consistently. Now, this is a lot of things as well. You may not have time. You may be like, well, I have ideas, but they're not good enough ideas. They're not worthy of other people seeing them. You may be overwhelmed. You may be disorganized because you haven't built a system yet that works for you. You may be trying to show up in too many places or places that you don't enjoy or places that just like don't work for you or you can't figure out. So you feel like it's really challenging to get things out consistently despite your best efforts. The solution could be many things. It could be a task management support like a VA or a podcast editor or social media help or something done for you, right? Or it could be, okay, I need to sit down, create a system and process and help me streamline some things. Get rid of stuff that's not working for me. and focus on what is. Again, sometimes an extra set of eyeballs is just what the doctor ordered. Sometimes you need an extra set of hands, and sometimes you just need to sit yourself down and say, you know what? My ideas are good enough and I need to get them out there, and I need to put a process in place for myself to do so. Here we go. Problem number 3, I know that I'm doing too much, but I don't exactly know what to cut. This is the tough spot to be, especially if you enjoy a majority of what you're doing. But the problem is it can get really, really muddled. And people are like, I don't know what that person does. It is so confusing. Now, I personally have been here. In fact, there was a good amount of time I was not even known as a copywriter. I feel like I was just known as like the girl who can probably do just pretty much anything for you. So I think it is important to not confuse people. When you confuse, you lose. And specific is terrific. So I think it is important to take a little inventory, look at all the things that you are offering, all the things you're cooking up, and make sure that it is all cohesive and streamlined. In fact, I think I'm going to do that tomorrow. So that way, you can look at everything big picture, and if you are trying to get rid of extraneous things that either cost you time, money, and energy, or they don't make you money, you might need to look at what those things are and get rid of the ones that don't belong. This may just take an honest conversation with yourself. It may also take an outside brain, some strategy, right? And there are plenty of times when you can just figure this out with a good sit down. But either way, that is a common problem. Problem number 4, I'm making money, but I have no idea where it's going. This is not a fun feeling. This is not a fun feeling. Do you need help to fix this feeling? Maybe. Maybe you lack strategy, knowledge, or maybe there are just a few oversights to clean up. Now, here's the thing. As business owners, I think we expect ourselves to be good at like literally every single facet of our business. Some people are very, very good at what they do, and they are not savvy on the business side of things. They're not savvy on the money side of things. And that is okay. Sometimes you need that outside assistant for tracking and creating systems that make you profit, or you need to increase your prices, or you need revenue assistance, or a system, a bookkeeper, a money coach. Like there's so many different things that this could be. And sometimes you just need a good money date with yourself to clean everything up. So that's a common problem, and there are a wide variety of solutions to that problem, depending on what the origin is. Problem number 5, I'm booked out, but I'm still stressed and behind. There comes a point for all of us when the systems that we're running on have not kept up with our level of success. Okay, we're like outpacing our systems, or even outpacing, I guess, our own capacity. And that's okay. Our systems, some of them are not meant to scale alongside us. So this could be a sign that you do need help. You might need systems and automations. You might need an extra set of hands, like a subcontractor or a VA or an OBM. My advice here is to get clear on what you need before, a little bit before you get to this point. Not too soon before, but soon enough so that you're not in full-on panic mode when you are searching for the solution to this problem, because it can be a very, very bad thing to be just drowning in overwhelm and everything is like so successful and happening and busy for you, but you're like, I don't know what to do with myself. Problem number 6, I'm not converting leads or inquiries or discovery calls into paying clients. Now, this could be a number of things as well. You might have a messaging problem. It might be actually in your copy or in your language that you're using throughout your business. It could also be an issue of pricing. It could be, and that could be either too high or too low. I'm not saying that it's just related to like your prices are too high, okay? There are a number of factors involved in our pricing. It could also be your actual sales savvy, so to speak, okay? There are a lot of things here that could require outside assistance. And I do think that when it comes to figuring out the root of why someone is not converting, it does tend to lend itself to getting outside help to solve that mystery. I think this is one of the harder issues to go it alone on. All right. And then there's so many others. I'm not going to go through them all, but like basically you're ready for what's next, but you don't know how to figure out what next is. How many times have I been there? You have offers, but nothing that you're offering seems to be taking off or landing for people. You're stuck on an island. You feel alone. You feel idealist. You're like out of ideas. You're like, I've been doing this for 12 years. I have no more ideas. I'm uninspired. There are so many different ways and so many different things that can show that we have a actual problem on our hands. And some of them happen all at the same time. So there is a point for all of us when we just have to raise our hand and it's like, I cannot solve this on my own and I need to ask for help. And this is all about giving yourself the information you need to get yourself the right help that's going to move you forward and also give you permission to ask for it in the first place. Because I don't know about you, but when I try to go it alone, sometimes it ends up looking one of two ways, and it's not pretty. Number one, I don't end up having the time, energy, or skill set. And so then I'm right back to where I started, or in many cases, actually worse. Number two, I will ask everybody and their mother except the right people for feedback. And I end up really, really confused and actually really frustrated. And then I give up and decide, you know what? I'm not going to actually solve that problem. I'm just going to let it keep on squeaking on as a squeaky wheel. Now, we've talked through a lot of the pain points, the ouches, the things that might signal we need help. And there are a lot of ways to actually get that help in our business. There's so many different ways it could look. It can look like rebranding, new website copy, website design. It can look like actual help with task management, like podcasting or VA help or technical support. It can look like organization, systems, processes, streamlining, software, right? It can look like offerings and product strategy. It can look like marketing help. It can look like sales, coaching, profit and revenue assistance, bookkeeping, something else entirely. So here are just two things I would encourage you to ask yourself before you figure out who you need to bring in and whether or not you need to bring somebody else in. Number one, clarity. We talked about this all last month. I feel like I need to start adding a clarity clause to my contracts. Like, are you sure this is the right help that you need? Are you trying to solve a problem that I cannot help you with? Are you doing this in the right order? You know, those kind of things. But this is why I kind of implemented a new rule in most cases where I'm going to be working with clients who either I've already written the website copy for, and then we transition into some sort of retainer after we've already established that big picture, or I'm working alongside a web designer or a brand designer, because sometimes people do come to me when things are they're not done in the right order, and this really helps that to happen more. So what I'm saying as in sharing all that is when we lack clarity and when we go looking to get help before we have clarity, we can sometimes end up doing things in the wrong order. It can end up costing us more money, time, energy. It can get ugly. Okay. It can get ugly because when we don't even know what we need, and people that we're asking, they're all going to have their own opinions about what we need, right? But those are not always in your best interest. They're not always aligned. Now, if you work with a great service provider, they should be able to tell you that's not something I can help you with. You need to start here. But there are people who are not going to be that forthright with you. And not to mention, they all have their own kind of like perspectives on what the problem might be. And that's totally normal. Like a branding person might look and say, well, you know what? I think it's your branding. Sales coach might say, well, I think it's your sales process. Marketing person might say, well, it's XYZ. So the point is, I want you to get clear for yourself on what you are trying to fix. What is the actual problem at hand here? And where do I need to go for a solution? And if you aren't sure, that's okay. That's where like getting somebody to help you gain that clarity can really come in handy. And I would just encourage you to find somebody who really has your best interest at heart, if you can. So clarity, now, that doesn't mean you have to have it all figured out. There are a lot of clients that come to me that they're not fully clear yet on their brand. That is completely normal. This is about helping them discover what that is and then bringing it to life. So you don't have to have everything figured out, but you do want to know which problem. I'm talking about having clarity on which problem you are trying to solve and then making sure that you're finding the correct person to solve it. You may have to ask that person, am I doing this in the right order? What order do you recommend I do this? And I will be honest with you that I think sometimes in order to find that clarity, you end up like reaching out a little bit to the wrong people. And well, I don't want that for you. I think it's part of the process a little bit. But I do think asking other people who have been where you have been, asking how they went about solving the same issue, that can help save you a lot of time in this process. When you are bringing on help, you want to have clarity around the direction that you're going and the problem you're looking to solve. The basics, okay? Because otherwise, it can create a lot more problems and confusion, not less. And I have tons of examples. I decided not to share them all with you to protect the innocent. Second thing you'll want to have in place is some tangibles as well as intangibles before you bring on help. So things like a strong understanding of who your business works with or wants to be working with, like where you're actually going with your business. You want to have a good grasp on who you are, your strengths, your skills, your personality, that kind of thing, or be working with somebody who can really shine a light on those things for you and hear the things that you maybe can't hear for yourself. You want to come in with willingness and like a spirit of collaboration and an openness to both giving and receiving feedback. I believe that in a collaboration, getting help, honesty, and clear communication are beyond keys. It is how we build trust with our collaborators and helpers in our business. When I have a subcontractor working for me or when I am a subcontractor working for somebody else, we are dedicated and committed to being honest and clear with each other. If you are holding back in that way or not giving somebody the full picture, then it's like almost no point in asking them for help, and it can end up creating a lot of unnecessary problems. It can also result in hiring the wrong help or just getting really, really frustrated by the help that you did bring in. So I would even have that conversation like right off the bat. The other thing I would encourage you to have is an open mind and flexibility. And so there may be solutions to the problem that you had not even thought of yet. So I would just come at things with flexibility and an open mind and see where that takes you. Trust the process, as they say. The other thing is like your own personal kind of North Star or values maybe, or vision or purpose, like the crux of your message. Like you may want to have a real clear definition on those things just inside yourself. I know that's a little intangible. And then the other is making sure that you have alignment between what you say and how you show up. So, I've had a couple of recent examples where people want to show up one way, but it is so disconnected from how they actually express themselves and how they actually show up. And when it came out, like when copy started, coming to fruition, there was a real jarring sensation for them because this might be how they present themselves, but it's not who they feel on the inside. So I would really encourage you to get, learn about yourself and get clear on who you are and make sure that matches how you show up. Because when you're bringing in outside help, what you tell us is kind of like what we can use as our North Star, right? So you want to make sure that what you're sharing with us matches what you really feel on the inside. All right, let us wrap up real briefly here with that feeling. Let's cover the feeling of when you don't like asking for help because you either think it's a sign of weakness or maybe you feel like you should be able to DIY everything in your business, from building your own website to branding yourself to marketing to coaching yourself. Like, sorry, but we can't do it all. So these are my words of encouragement from my heart to yours, someone who understands immensely as a firstborn, only daughter, entrepreneurial spirit, and taking care of everything and everyone with the utmost reliability and responsibility since I was like 6 years old. And also I'm a smidge of a control freak. So this is from me to you. Thoughts on us asking for help, thoughts on us letting go. Okay? Number 1, needing help is not a sign of weakness. I know we've heard it 100 times, but it is really more of a sign, I think, after I've really thought about it. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you have a vision and you want to keep moving that vision forward. Okay. You're not here to play small. You're not here to stay stuck. So asking for help is like, no, I have my own back. I'm moving ahead on this vision. It is bigger than me. It is bigger than life. And let's do this. So I really believe the moment you realize that you can't or you don't want to do it all alone, that is a growth moment for you because it is, you are now investing, realizing your vision is far bigger than solo survival, and you're willing to invest in that. That is big. We should give that a moment. Okay, number 2, moving on. That was a moment enough. Number 2, asking for help is what makes the world go round. Like, no one is truly self-made. I know we like to think we are. There's this adage, and I love it. It's something along the lines of like, you didn't craft the bootstraps that you claim to pull yourself up by. And it is just so true. It takes all skills, all talents, the exchange of those skills and talents to keep the world and small business economy spinning and our communities. I am a big believer that when we start to get help from the right people, we also kind of give the universe a little sign that we're ready for more people to start getting help and trusting us too. So think of asking for help as like your own little help karma. Now people are ready to ask you for help. Number 3, not asking for help. While you might think that it's saving you money, it's usually costing us. Think of the hours sucked away trying to get a graphic on Canva right, or wondering if you should be using this font or that font, or what on earth your website should say, or the time and energy that you spend on reinventing systems only to have them break down yet again. Think of how not investing in help is costing you money, time, or energy. And as you have probably heard multiple times in your life, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. You probably did not build your business to tackle whatever problem you're trying to solve, and somebody else did. They built their business exactly to help with that problem. So the more we stay in our lane, the more we empower people to stay in theirs, and we actually end up showing up better, I think, for our clients and for our business and for every facet of our lives, because we just have more energy and passion to do so. And number 4, on that same note, we're really not like, you don't need to be good at everything. I was just talking to brand designer Jess Mercier. I'll include a link to her website in the show notes. And she was sharing with me how, and I agree, the online spaces really can make us feel like we are supposed to be experts in our business in absolutely everything, right? Marketing, tech, graphics, delivery, strategy, everything. But no, we don't excel at all of it. High-performing businesses are built on intelligent collaborations, not superhuman solo efforts. And believe me, having somebody help with website design or branding or copy or marketing or whatever the thing is that you are bashing your head against your computer about, whatever it is, it's a lot more efficient in the long run than DIYing it, because again, they are masters of their craft. You are a master of yours, and we just all do better when we stay in our lanes. So the asking for help pep talk is now over. And that was really for me. It's for me a lot too. I often come from a place of not believing that I'm worth investing in. Like, oh, I can't ask for help because I'm not worth investing in myself. And so I just keep limping along in the things that I'm not actually capable of, but yet I'm still determined to keep on trying and trying and trying. The reality is, oftentimes, the way to elevate is to get help. To grow, get help. Often, this is often, it's not always, but often it is really help that we need to get to the next level that we want to grow. So 2 last quick things, then we'll wrap up because, well, I enjoy monopolizing your time. You may not enjoy all your time being monopolized by me. So, okay, first of all, we're gonna talk about where to look for help, and then also get into just some like, okay, these are signs that I probably do need help, but I might need to wait, pause, like ready, set, wait, and pause a little bit longer. Where to look for help? Where to look for help? The age-old question, am I right? Interestingly enough, a lot of my work is helping people to get found on the Googles. So when I write website copy, yes, it's infused with inspiration and fun and personality, and it's also powered by search engine optimization. A lot of local small business owners, especially service providers or folks in the trade, they can gain a lot of business from Google searches. In my own business lately, I have been connecting with people far and wide, all thanks to the power of SEO. Like, it has been incredible to watch what my SEO, my search engine optimization, is doing. People are finding me in Google more and more and more. So Google searches, all that to say, Google searches is one way to go about it. And if you do go that route, I would encourage you to really give somebody's website a good look over. Maybe look at a few, right? And like take some notes if you have to. Read their reviews. Definitely, if it's applicable, meet them over Zoom or over the phone to make sure that it is still a good fit for you. But Google searches are still a great way to find help. Second place, and this is obvious, but second place is referrals. Now, caveat here. I always say that one person's idea of a good referral, one person's idea of a great fit is somebody else's version of a nightmare. Now, not everyone recommends someone that is going to work for you, even if it worked for them. So when you ask for referrals, I would do your research exactly the same as you would had you stumbled on somebody on Google. Make sure you are looking over their website, reading their reviews, taking notes, definitely meeting with them once again. Thirdly, Facebook groups and online forums. I can't even tell you how many great recommendations I've gotten on Facebook groups, even Reddit, mind you, where it's anonymous. But I think the key with these groups is that when you're making an ask, you want to be really, really specific, because otherwise you'll just get pummeled with recommendations. Sometimes it's really hit or miss, and like you just don't. I mean, I asked a question recently in a Facebook group and it was like, womp, womp. I didn't really get the answer I was looking for. But the more, and I was very specific, but the more specific you are, I do find the more it can be honed in and you're going to find what you're looking for. And then don't discount the search engine on social media. I've never used this, but apparently TikTok has a great search engine, and I've heard that it's pretty decent. I've also had a lot of people connect with me on LinkedIn and Instagram using those as search engines for copywriters. And what I like about that is you really do get a chance to see somebody's personality. You get to kind of look through their profile a little bit. So I had one woman tell me that she looked through an exhaustive list of copywriter profiles on Instagram, and she reached out to me because she said mine felt very real and she was drawn to my personality. So that felt really nice. But social media is a great option for finding people because you get a chance to really like look through kind of a body of their work. You know what I mean? And I would be remiss if I did not also share that there are some fabulous free organizations who not only can provide you with help, but they can also connect you to the help that they need. So it's both in-house a lot of times, as well as external. And these are amazing resources for small businesses. They have a wealth of knowledge to provide you with. And they're in most of these cases, actually in every single one of the cases I'm about to share, they are at the low price of free. So some to look into if you're local to the New Hampshire area specifically are the New Hampshire SBDC, Small Business Development Center, SCORE, and also the Hannah Grimes Center for Entrepreneurship in Keene, New Hampshire. So I will link those in the show notes. I'm closely affiliated with all three of them as either a collaborator or a workshop teacher or a coach, and I really, really recommend them all as fantastic, very helpful, free resources. So we'll do another episode another time on questions that you can ask people that you're looking to hire or to get help from to avoid being burned, because that's a thing. I promise you that. And I think that's going to be a good episode, but we got to bring this thing home. We got to land this plane. So here are just some signs that you might actually need to pause before jumping in and getting somebody else's help. And I wish I had learned this lesson about 7 years sooner, these lessons. So the first sign you need to pause is you just want somebody to figure it all out for you. Now, that's fine. There are so many cases when they can help to figure things out for you, but you also need to have that clarity within yourself. So remember that too. Another sign you might actually need to pause is that you're in a mad hurry or a mad rush. Like basically everything's on fire and you're like, I don't know what I need. I just need help. But you might be reaching real quick for the wrong kind of help or quick fixes. So take a minute and figure out what you really need and, how that's going to look, and then get help. The other one is you keep changing your mind. You keep changing your mind. You're feeling very wishy-washy about the whole thing. You don't even know if you want to burn your business down or keep on going. You don't know who your audience is. One day it's this, one day it's that, blah, 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 blah. If you keep changing your mind, take a minute and get clear first. If you have not made some of those key decisions, like I have my offers in place, I have my values in place, some of those big picture things, you might also want to take a minute and just pause, do some exploration, look some things up to help yourself explore who you are and where you're going. And then the other one is if you just want to snap your fingers and have somebody create something without giving them direction, again, fine. But I think that a really good collaboration comes with that honest feedback and that honest communication and working together through the clarity and discovery process. So maybe you have some other things you'd add on when you need to pause, when you've noticed about yourself that you run forward a little bit too fast. And I would encourage you also to think about how this applies to your own industry. So how can you help your own clients who might be on the fence thinking about getting your help? How can you guide them in showing them when the time is right, when they may need to pause, when they need to take a minute and get more clarity before bringing you in, right? This can be a really key part of our messaging, and it can help people to see themselves, give them information about when the time is right, raise their hands and say, okay, yup, the time is right for me right now. I actually need your help. So think about these things as we go through this process together, for yourself and for your own business too. And on that note, I will be chatting with you next week. We're going to be discussing what to do if you feel like you're stuck shouting into the void. So I really want to make marketing more fun for you. And we're actually going to talk about how to make it your own little playground. I promise it'll be great. Okay. On that note, I will chat with you then. And I hope your month is off to an amazing start. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Content with Character. If you loved the episode, please make sure to subscribe to the podcast, rate, review, and share it with someone else you know it could help. For more content and visibility tips, visit my blog at emilyaborn.com and be sure to connect with me on Instagram at emilyaborn. I'd love to hear how this inspired you to take action.